Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to talk to you about The Boys Season 2 Rundown Review. The Boys Season 2 is really good on Amazon Prime. It's just as good as Season 1. There's probably less humor in the Season 2 and a bit more like action, but it's a lot more dramatic. The stakes are a whole lot higher in Season 2 when it comes to the boys group. And so like it's like their world gets like turned upside down because of the events that happened in Season 1. I still say this is one of the best superhero shows ever. The CGI is great. The costumes are great. The characters are awesome. The acting is really good. And it feels like a movie quality type thing as opposed to a TV show. But it is a TV show. And it takes you on that of a journey. And what a journey it takes you. From the revelations and the reveals are a whole lot bigger than that of last season. Now, I'm not sure how much of this is based on the actual comic because I've never read the comic and I didn't really want to bother like looking up some of the events that happen with some of these characters and stuff. So it's just kind of like, it is what it is. The season 3 comes out early June, so that's only like a few weeks from now. And they're gonna drop it like per week as opposed to that of all at once, which really sucks. But hey, that's just how it is and stuff. So this piggybacks off of on what happened last season, like directly what happened after last season. So some time has passed, maybe a few weeks, maybe a month, something like that. And so, it's revealed that Highlander did in fact save Stillwell's baby, and of course he rescued Butcher because he revealed, hey, your wife is alive, and I'm the like father of like your stepson and like stuff like that. And so like Homelander dropped him off like far away from wherever Butcher's wife has been living this entire time, right? And so he has to make his way back to whatever city they're in. And so when it comes to the actual boys themselves, um, they've been laying extremely low. They pretty much been living in a storage facility. I don't know what kind of store it is. Maybe a comic book store or some kind of store. They stay in the back, and basically what they've been doing is they've been selling drugs via Frenchie to make ends meet and get some money and stuff like that. Because they still haven't seen none of their family members from season 1 because their family members are in hiding and they can't show their faces because Homelander lied and said that Butcher blew up Stillwell from the vault, and so they posted all their pictures around, so now they're wanted by the FBI. So they have to keep an extremely low profile. And so what they're doing is they're selling drugs, I believe, to get enough money to buy fake IDs and like leave the country or something. However, oh Huey, he just can't leave Starlight alone. So he sneaks off every now and then and everything, and he'll contact her or she'll contact him on like a burner phone, and then they'll meet up in the subway and they'll just like hang out, talk, make out, stuff like that. And apparently when they're in the subway and stuff, Vault can't track her little chip device. Mother's Milk has been kind of like, been very agitated lately because he can't see his daughter, he can't see his wife, and he's extremely pissed. And when he finds out that Huey has been hanging out with Starlight, oh, he wants to whoop his behind and everything. Because Mother's Milk is now the new person, like, in charge and stuff. But Huey has a plan. He believes that if they can get their hands on some Compound V, that all this will go away and they'll be vindicated and stuff. And so he's going to use Starlight to like sneak in and get some like Compound V. So like, but at some point Butcher comes back after got through talking to Mallory. See, Mallory was the woman that recruited Butcher after his wife disappeared. She's the one who caused him to hate suits and everything else. And so like after some argument back and forth, he convinces her that, look, if I can bring in one of these super terrorists and stuff and prove that a vault is the one who made them, then can we be vindicated, this and that, can I get my wife back? So she agrees. So that's his plan. So the boys got two plans they want to do. And it's gonna contradict the other one because, you know, Butch is still all for himself. He still just wants to get his wife back, and he could really care less about the other people. Even though he does care about them, he just cares more about himself first. And so, like, Starlight, she knows somebody who works in Vault, and he's kind of like a guinea pig because he has regenerative tissue. So you can chop off a limb and it'll grow back. So she blackmails him. She knew him from like high school and stuff, but she blackmails him. She sneaks to where his hotel is at, and she sees that he's been propositioning himself to humans, basically people who hate soups and want to kill them, but no, they can't because, you know, soups are like invincible and stuff. So what he allows them to do, they pay him a large amount of sum, and they take a machete and just chop off a limb. So she records all this. She pretends everything's all nice and friendly. Then she blackmails him. So he's able to get her some Compound V. Now during this time, A-Train is still in a coma from what happened last season. But as soon as the dude gives her some Compound V, all of a sudden, boom, he's awake now. And he remembers everything, and he's pissed at Starlight. So when the dude gives her the Compound V and she puts it in her boot, he runs up to him and like, oh, what are you doing? So he's pissed and he wants revenge and everything. And so them two are constantly going back and forth. To one point, he steals her cell phone and sees that she's betraying the Seven. She's able to weasel her way out of this by saying, like, you know, basically, like, you keep my secret and I'll keep yours. What's his is that, like, he's been shooting up on Compound V, and also Pop Lock, his girlfriend, was. And then when she ratted him out, he was forced to murder her. So he gave her a heroin overdose with 4 needles in the arm. But she said, isn't that kind of suspicious? She had 4 needles in the arms at the same time. Like, how does one person do that without overdosing first on the first one? And not to mention, one needle bust straight through her bone. So how was that possible? So he keeps his mouth shut. Now, with the Seven, this one new dude took over, and I forget his name, but he took over in last season. And so Ashley has her job back, and she takes over for Stillwell. And when it comes to that of Homelander, he's basically no longer wants to take orders from people and wants to do things himself. He's more aggressive than what he was last season and scaring the piss out of that of Ashley. He kicks A-Train out the Seven because of the whole like shooting up on Compound V and exposing it and this and that, because after Starlight leaks it to the press, now people know how soups are created, and a lot of them take it very hard, especially Black Noir. Black Noir is like hilarious. You never see his face, but he has so much emotion through that mask, and he's just sad that he wasn't born a soup, but he was created and stuff. And so, but of course, Vault is able to spin this and everything and talking about how you still need soups and this and that, because now we got super villains. And so with Homelander, he's basically just been hanging out with his son, trying to teach him how to use his powers, trying to make him be a little bit more aggressive, which pisses off his mom, of course. And so, like, she doesn't want nothing to do with him, but he won't leave her alone, and she knows she can't harm him. And she goes to the people who put her there, talking about, you know, you promise he'll leave me alone and da-da-da, this and that, but they don't want to do nothing to stop him because, of course, they're scared of him. And so when it comes to the Deep, It's weird. He went through a hilarious metamorphosis with the whole assault thing last season, but this time he's just bitter and angry. He doesn't like the idea of getting photoshopped out of a picture and all this other stuff. But then some dude called Eagle Archer or something like that, who's kind of like a Green Arrow type person, he befriends the Deep and wants to rehabilitate him along with this one woman who's part of this church. And I don't understand why, because I thought the Archer dude was gonna have a bigger role, but he didn't and stuff. But yeah, they basically want to rehabilitate him, put him back in the seven, and give some clout to that of the church. So when some crazy events happen, the Deep is gonna try to help the seven and try to get back in their good graces. Now, as for Queen Maeve, her lover from last season had like her appendix burst, so she goes to the hospital because she was on the contact list. And then she tells her, why she had to like leave her and this and that because of Homelander. And basically, she gets found out by Homelander, and he decides to expose her to the world as being a lesbian superhero, but she's really bisexual. So now they're spinning it around to where, this is great for like the LGBT community, and they put her in a lot of skits that talk about how she's like a proud lesbian and all this and stuff, and she hates it because she knows Homelander is just messing with her. So with Kimiko and everything wanting to know where like Huey is, translating through kind of like Frenchie, she's basically just like gives him the nod, and as basically Frenchies are like, oh yeah, she wants to know where you've been, which he really wants to know. And so after finding that out and the arguments and stuff not going the way they wanted to, and thinking Huey's gonna mess things up, Frenchie and Mother's Milk, they contact Butcher. He comes back and he tells them like, what's up and everything. So they go, with the whole Compound V thing, exposing like the soups, that don't really work. So they have to go the terrorist route. And so they know of one, and they're tracking him. And so when they're in like this store and they're tracking him, no. First they go to talk to the FBI director lady. And as they're talking to her about the whole Compound V stuff and all this other stuff, her head explodes out of like nowhere. So they know a soup is involved, but they don't know who. Well, it's the one they're tracking down, this terrorist, who's going after government officials and stuff. So when they're in the store, Kimiko sees him and she goes up to him and she starts doing her little like sign language type stuff because she's a select mutism. She refuses to talk to anybody. And since she only knows Japanese and not American, she doesn't really know how to like write in American and all this other stuff. So when she's talking to him and everything, Frenchie is able to figure something out that one of those two say, either through sign language or in Japanese, and it means the word brother. And so, yeah, that's like her brother. They were experimenting on as adults to be like a terrorists and stuff for this like organization in like Japan and stuff. So, because of this, Huey goes to Butcher, who's about to shoot her brother. And when Huey tackles Butcher, the gun bullet like ricochets, and then that's when her brother realizes what's up. He uses his powers to drop basically tons of shells and merchandise and half the building on top of those dudes. And then him and Kimiko, they run away. Butcher is not too pleased with Huey at this point. Well, with Kimiko and her brother, they're talking more, and she tells him, she wants to go home, be with the mother and father. He's getting agitated, talking about something about their mother and father and something about back home, and he's angry about something, and she doesn't want to believe him, and he doesn't want to listen, so those two end up like fighting each other. But then Butcher comes in. I think somehow they subdue him. I forget how. And then before Huey gets into like the van, Butcher punches the crap out of him and everything. But Huey still goes with him anyway, even though like he's pissed. Him and Huey are just like at odds with each other. Huey's still mad that Butcher tried to ditch all of them when they got like arrested in the last season. So when they had him tied up and everything, Frenchie's trying to befriend like the brother and stuff, and he gives him something to drink, but the brother doesn't want nothing to do with them and hates them. And Frenchie asks him, I want to be able to communicate with your sister, teach me y'all special language and all this other crap, but he won't do it. But then he leaves a soda can with him, and with his power, he uses it as a knife to cut through the duct tape. So then something happens. I forget what. But I think he escapes and they have to go find him again. Well, they eventually find him and capture him again with chains. And so now they're going to deliver him. Well, no, when they have him in chains, they take him off the coast in a boat. And then, but the boat gets stopped by the feds because Butcher stole the boat. And as soon as Butcher trying to lie his way out of it, boom, here comes the seven. But first, here comes the deep, and he stops all of them with like sea animals and creatures and this and that, doing a very Aquaman type thing. So they're hightailing it out of there. He tries to block their path with a giant whale. Butcher's all like, screw it, and bust straight through the whale. That was some good CGI. Well, some of them made it out and some of them did it. Huey is stuck inside and just doesn't want to leave. He is traumatized with all the guts and the blood and the organs and everything else. They tried to get him out. He's like, no, get your hands off me. I'm staying in here. Like he's had it. Okay, he's had it. And so like whatchamacallit, so they all like, screw you, gonna go hide in the sewers. But then Mother's Milk won't leave him behind, so he convinces Huey to come with him. Now the seven comes. The Deep tries to get in good with them. The girls don't want him to be on the team, but for now they're just gonna abide by it and look for the boys. Eventually they do find them, because at some point one of them splits up from them, because Huey's like dragging behind, and then it's Homelander and Starlight who finds him. Homelander is all like, I can't believe it, your ex again, kill him. And she's like, what? He's like, prove your worth and kill him. So she had to blast him to make it seem convincing, but now she doesn't want to do it. So she's screwed. But then here comes like, Butcher trying to like play off defense so Huey can like get away and stuff. And so they now use Kimiko's brother to help them, and he brings part of the sewer down on Homelander. But after he does that, he escapes. And then so Kimiko has to run after him again. But he is stopped by the new recruit of the Seven. See, what happened was Ashley needed a new member for the Seven. And she wanted a person named Blind Spot, a blind daredevil type person. But Homelander's all like, you kidding me? Like, he can only see through like hearing stuff. So he pops his eardrums and blood is everywhere. And he's all like, don't you ever recruit nobody without my permission. But the dude who's in charge, whose name I forgot, he recruits a woman named Stormfront. And she is the newest recruit. Stormfront is very interesting. She starts off as this sassy, quirky type person who you just like love her and stuff, but you notice something wrong with her, but you just don't know what. And she's all about feminism, and she gets along with the girls, but in a sassy kind of way. And she doesn't like male toxicness and stuff like that. And her and Homelander don't get along whatsoever, especially when she takes out some of his bad dudes. And so you think she's on the up and up. But then we finally got our very first like soup fight and everything, and it's basically well, we had a soup fight before with Kimiko and her brother, so we finally got some action. But now we get somewhat Stormfront, and she's shooting lightning and stuff like that. And so they're running on the rooftop and everything, but then she eventually gets a hold of him and kills Kimiko's brother. Kimiko is beyond distraught and beyond pissed. She turns very dark. And so Homelander's pissed because, Homelander wanted to kill the terrorist dude and everything, but she beat him to it. And so, like, it's weird because, like, when before she killed him, she said something racist towards him. And it's kind of like, wait, where did that come from? So you knew something was up with her, but you don't know exactly what. And then one time when she was talking with A-Train, because he gets kicked out of the thing, she's talking to him in a very cavalier kind of way, but then say something racist to him. And he's not quite sure what she means, but he kind of is picking up on it. And it's kind of like, well, what exactly is going on with her? So with her being the new recruit and so mysterious and everything, the boys were given the lead looking for some person named Lady Liberty or something like that. So they start and they go out north. It's like Mother's Milk is Huey, and Huey brought along Starlight. Mother Milk didn't really want to, but they do it anyway. They do a nice little road trip. They hang out in the hotel. It's a nice bonding moment. And so they're going up to North Carolina to talk to a woman. And so she doesn't want to talk to them, but they convince her otherwise. Mother Milk tells them a story about how his dad was a lawyer. He went after Soups and they went after him. So she tells the story of what happened to her years ago when she was only 11 years old. Now this woman is about in like her 50s or something like that. And so she's telling the story, because she's black, telling the story about how her and her brother, they was driving one night and all of a sudden it was like raining. And a superhero stops them, Lady Liberty. And she's like this racist superhero type person. And she murders her brother right in front of her. As a result, Vault silenced her, paid her off for like, not even that much. It was probably like $2,000 and stuff. It was back in like the 50s, you know? And so they're trying to figure out what this connection is with Lady Liberty and why that Mallory lady sent them to like look for her and stuff. And so when talking to her, they say, you know, this lady, because you know, she told them something like, be careful around this lady, something like that. And they're all like, well, she's probably dead or like in her 80s by now. And she's like, no, she has been on the news. And she shows them a picture in the newspaper. It's Stormfront. They don't understand how in the world she looks so youthful and everything, and how she could be Lady Liberty from back in the day, or Liberty Bells, Liberty something. And so there's more to her than meets the eye and everything. And so that like explains like the racism and stuff. So they head back into town. Well, with Kimiko, Frenchie tries to comfort her by making out with her. This pisses her off and she cuts off contact with him. Then she disappears for a while. He finds her in a church and he contacts one of his old like buddies and stuff. And it turns out Kimiko is murdering people for money and everything, and Frenchie's ex is like paying her. He's pissed, they have it out, and then he leaves her in the church and stuff. She's just gone because she wants to murder Stormfront, and she's just so angry she'll murder any bad person she can get her hands on. Well, one day Stormfront is having like a press conference, and in the crowd is Kimiko, and she's getting ready to strike until Frenchie grabs her by the hand and tells her there's no way you'll be able to kill her because she's too strong and all these people are around and stuff. So they go back to like the boys' hideout and stuff. Butcher later on finds his wife and they meet, they talk, and he wants to bring her with him. But there's a problem. She knows he hates Soups and he will never accept her son and everything. And so like she tells him, if you don't leave now, I'll contact the Vault people and they'll come storming in and get you and stuff like that. So he's pissed and he's heartbroken. He doesn't have Compound V to expose the Soups because that didn't work. He doesn't have that terrorist dude. Mallory and him can't like really talk no more. The FBI lady is dead, so he's running out of options, right? And so it's like really rough for him. So he goes and visit, I think, his mom or grandma or something like that. And at some point Huey and them got like a tip on where he's at, so they went to go get him. As Butcher's about to leave, he sees somebody on the rooftop. It's Black Noir. And he knows he can't leave because he's going to assassinate them all. So he goes back inside and they plant traps, Home Alone style, with like pressure cooker bombs and stuff like that. So after causing a distraction with the fire department, it gives them time to weapon-proof the house. Black Noir goes in and pretty much gets like shrapnel all on him, but he regenerates. And so it's like a huge, they want to fight him, but they can't. And so he's about to kill Butcher until the dude who's in charge calls and everything. And they have a talk, and basically, you know, I forget what happens, but Black Noir just like leaves. And because Butcher agreed to do something. My bad, that's not Butcher's grandma, that's his aunt. We actually do get to see his mom and dad in a very odd scene that feels a little out of place, but I guess they wanted the audience to have sympathy as to why Butcher is the way that he is. Basically, what it is that he had a brother, his dad was very abusive, used to beat them and everything, and his brother committed suicide, and the dad's all like, you know, you might hate me, but I made you stronger, and you're tough, and blah, 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 stuff like that. Anyway, his dad's dying of an illness, and he loves his mom, and that's about it. So it's kind of like one of those things that's just like a little out of place, but they want you to have sympathy for him and stuff like that. Now, I will say, when it does come to like the female members of the Seven, because like Stormfront, she's actually gender bent in this show. There's a couple of people who are gender bent, because, you know, in the boys, you know, it's the boys, so therefore there's a lot of like, you know, guys in there, so they wanted to have a bunch of females. And one funny thing is that when the girls do come together, they started this whole slogan called "Girls Get It Done." I love that phrase when they say it, because it's catchy and it's funny, because it becomes like their little slogan. It's just like a catchy little thing, like "Girls Get It Done." It's funny when they're all like posing and stuff. And so Starlight, when she was spying on Stormfront, she found something on her laptop that was like interesting. Some type of facility, like a medical facility. So her, Butcher, and the entire gang, they go and investigate. But Butcher's not very too pleased with her, but at some point, you know, he brings her along and everything for the sake of like Huey, whatever. And so this don't make no sense. They're all wanted, well, except for Starlight, they're all wanted by the government, but they just stroll on in medical gear, and nobody recognizes them. So it's Mother's Milk, the female, Kimiko, and it's Frenchie. Now this is kind of like a Frenchie episode where it explains what happened, why him and Mother's Milk fell out, and what happened to Mallory's grandkids. So like while they're in there, they see that like there's a bunch of soups in this medical facility, and Stormfront shows up. And when she shows up, she's talking to a guy, and this is Lamplighter, who retired from the Seven in the first season, played by what is his name? Shawn Ashmore. And so she's talking to this one soup, and he's all like, you know, he wants to go home, this and that. Apparently something's not right with him, and she orders Lamplighter to incinerate him, and he does. Now it's funny, he has the power of fire, because in the X-Men movies, he was Iceman. So that's like really interesting, because his main nemesis in those X-Men movies was Pyro. So after seeing this, they want to know like what's up, like, you know what I'm saying? However, something happens. Frenchie is pissed when he sees Lamplighter. Apparently the backstory is when they were supposed to protect, they went on a mission, and Frenchie left his post. He left his post because his like bang buddy and his best friend had overdosed. Now his bang buddy at that time wasn't his bang buddy, it was that the overdose dude's like girlfriend, whatever, or boyfriend. So anyway, he overdosed, Frenchie left his post, he went to go help him, and he saved him. But then, you know, later the dude just died of an overdose because his heart just couldn't take it. When he left his post, Lamplighter burnt Mallory's grandkids to cinder. He thought it was Mallory under the sheets, but it wasn't. Now, Mallory also has been gender bent as well. In the comics, the male Mallory goes through something completely different and stuff. But anyway, so Lamplighter has said he's always regretted that. He never wanted to harm those kids and this and that. So at some point, as they're all like talking and all this and that, they want him to like testify. He doesn't want to. Something happens where one of the suits gets out, and then they all get out. I forget how they all get out. Something does happen that causes the whole place to go on lockdown, and all the soups come out. Things get crazy because some of the soups have been captive there and tortured, and they want retaliation on the medical staff. So one of them is a female who is bald, and she has the ability to blow people's heads up. And so it's kind of similar to what happened to an FBI director, but it's kind of like, wait a minute, if she was in that facility, how did she blow that person's head up? She's telekinetic, so basically she can control anything with her hands and just make it explode. And so they're all running from her because they're terrified of her. They all come to a truce to get on out of there, but Stormfront comes back and wants to know what the heck has happened. And so, like, you know, she's looking to see if any of them like escaped. Basically what he tells them is this: that place is where they experiment on adult soups. Kids can take compound V, adults can't. So they test it out on adults, see which ones can withstand it. Those that can, they turn into terrorists. Those that can't, they kill. So there'll be no loose ends. Well, there's a problem. One of the soups gets out and sees Billy and the other guys. He flips the car with Huey inside and stuff. They eventually kill him. But Huey is really, really hurt. He has a large piece of shrapnel in his stomach. Starlight can cauterize it because her powers can only activate if she has a light source around her. And something fried all the like electricity around them. So they have to go on foot to get him to a hospital. They eventually find like a man on the side of the road. And so they ask, you know, can they have his car? He said he'll take them to the hospital, but they ain't gonna get his car. Well, Billy's being Billy. And so the guy pulls a gun on them. Billy is still being Billy. And so Starlight has to stop this man before he kills Billy. But she stops him too hard. See, she was able to absorb the light from the man's car. She ends up killing the man. Her and Billy have some type of like bonding moment, but she's all like, you know, she's not like him, but apparently she is because she killed and all this other stuff. So as they get in the car to get Huey to safety after cauterizing him, she realizes the man had baby seats in his car. So she is heartbroken by that because now them kids will not have their father. It's a very intense scene, and some of the best emotional stuff is with Huey and that of Starlight. Because, you know, she's questioning herself. She wants to be this hero, but she's not being very heroic. And so at some point in time, the boys meet up with the other group of boys and stuff. At some point in time, Starlight gets found out, and they place her in a holding cell. Because, see, she gets found out because of her mom. She contacted her mom. Her mom apparently has still been in the city. She contacted Ashley talking about, you know, her daughter wants out, this and that. They are starting to suspect some stuff, so they arrest both of them and put them in a holding cell. The holding cell they put Starlight in has like these green lights, and she's unable to absorb the power. She becomes very depressed and upset and wants out. So Huey is supposed to keep an eye on Lamplighter, and basically Lamplighter just wants to watch porn for some reason. But porn of the seven, like actors playing them, while the others, I forget what the others go and do, but they go and do something. But then Homelander and Stormfront, they make an announcement about how Starlight is like, you know, the mole and a traitor and this and that, and then so when they see the news, Huey and Lamplight, they're like, she's gonna be executed, man. So they go and rescue her. And so when they go to rescue her, Lamplighter, his hand still is able to access the scanner to get inside, but he is and they help rescue her. But and so like I think she also rescues herself. No, Huey rescues the mom, but I think she rescues herself somehow. I forget how. And so they all meet up. But then Lamplighter is just like, he can't take it no more. You know, it just, he's too upset and he sets himself on fire and kills himself. Now this Star Witness is gone. And so it's chaotic over there. And Black Noir is trying to stop them, but then him and Starfront, oh not Starfront, him and Starlight get into it. But then, see, what happened was, before all this happened, what is it? Queen Maeve. See, I forgot to mention this. Her and her girlfriend, they was hanging out one time, and so Queen Maeve wants to take Homefront down. So she needs the deep help trying to look for the black box of that plane that crashed last season. They can't find that, but he was able to find a recording device. She gets it fixed and she keeps it in storage. When her girlfriend is there, she looks at the cell phone and sees what happened. A man recorded Maeve and Homelander abandoning the people on the flight. Her girlfriend is dismayed and wants nothing to do with her. This causes Maeve to spiral out of control. She starts having like a threesome with like 2 guys and smoking lots of weed and doesn't want nothing to do with anything no more. So when Huey and Starlight go to her, she does not want to help them at all. But then eventually she comes back to save, wait, is she the one who saves them from Black Noir, or is it Starlight? Anyway, somebody saves them and bashes in the head of Black Noir. So he's in like a coma. I don't think he's dead, but I think he's in exposed right now. And he, like I said, he's barely in this show. He's only appeared like 3 times. And so like they escape. And so now they have like no Star Witness, this and that. Because Maeve won't help them. Lamplighter's dead. You know, they're running out of options at this time. Now, with the boss guy, Edgar, remember when he made Black Noir stop killing what's his name, Butcher? Well, they have a plan. See, Becca, his wife's son, is the firstborn natural suit, and he wants his hands on him. So Billy gets his wife if he gets Edgar. So that's the plan they made. So, but he doesn't let nobody know that. And so at some point, what is it? Homelander is grooming Ryan, the little boy, and so is Stormfront. And so this does not make Becca happy. They groom him so much, they take him away. This upsets Becca to where she goes and look for Butcher. I don't know how she finds him, but she does. And so now they have to make their final strike. You know, they have to get the boy back. They have to like expose Balt and this and that. How? Because of A-Train. Something interesting happens. Remember the Church of Collective, that big thing that's like one of that they associated with Vault? Well, they trying to rehabilitate the Deep, and Eagle Eye the Archer helped him. Now I never understood that whole storyline, because they don't really do nothing with Eagle Eye Archer, but he got kicked out because something he refused to do. So they smeared his name, and so because of that, they made the Deep turn on him. And it's funny because the Deep will turn on anybody just to get back in the 7. After, you know, it's funny because, you know, people turned on him, but now he's doing the same thing. So like, oh, also with Eagle Archer, he's supposed to have wings, but he doesn't have that in the show. But anyways, Alistair, the dude who's in charge of like the church and everything, they're rehabilitating the Deep, and they're giving him a fake wife. The whole sexual assault thing last season. Well, and something they always giving out Fresco. I don't know if that's marketing or what, like product placement. I always assume there might be something in there, but it's not. But they constantly want all their soups to drink it for some bizarre reason. And so like now they're trying to like get A-Train back into the 7 because he got kicked out. And so he's not really liking it there, but he overhears Edgar and Alistair talking about him. So he's like, screw that, man. So he goes to like the archives and like the Church Collective and finds something on Stormfront. He takes it to Huey and Starlight while they're just driving in the car. It's a hilarious scene. He comes out of nowhere and spooks the crap out of them. And he gives them the file and everything. And we don't know exactly what's in this file yet, but they take it to Butcher. He's excited. So now they got their plan of attack. And it's like, what's in the file? Well, when Stormfront was with Homelander and Ryan, because see, they took him to like the museum and all their fans came and it freaked out Ryan. So they took him away. But then Stormfront gets freaked out because her Nazi past has come to light. She already exposed herself to, well, a lot of ways to the Homefront because they're always banging and stuff because she's like in love with him. But she had told him that like about her Nazi past, how she's over 100 something years old and how she met Hitler and she married the dude Volt who created Volt when they moved to America, when she became Liberty and stuff. And so after that racist murder, she became Stormfront and just like faded away. And so she was actually the first test subject of Volt, the first superhero. And so like her thing is she hates people of color. She just wants the world to be white, and that's because the whole Nazi thing. So she starts talking like, you know, political crap on the news, talking about how immigrants are taking over, how we're being replaced. And then so it causes some people to do terrorist things, domestic terrorist things. And so now all that came to light. So now the Seven and Vault are screwed. And so she wants to know who leaked this crap. And she knows it's probably Starlight somehow, but she doesn't know exactly how. And so, the big huge moment has finally come, and the last episode is good. There are twists and turns left and right. I wasn't expecting A-Train to like turn on them, you know, and everything, and because especially what all happened to him last season. So the big climactic, you know, like they finally giving us some action too in the last episode. It all happens. It goes down. So first thing first, they gotta get Ryan up out of there. And they gotta get Homelander down. And so, but how they gonna do that? The man is literally the most powerful superhuman there is. So they rig a bunch of stuff that hurts his super hearing, and it also hurts Ryan. So when Homelander's trying to find out where the noise is coming from, because they synced a bunch of like smart devices together, and what are them things called? I forgot what they call. It's like I think like audio box type thing. They hooked them all together, and it's like hurting both him and Ryan's head. They put some soundproof earmuffs on Ryan, and they get him out. Homelander's pissed, and then he goes back to the log cabin where Ryan and them was at. But there's some military guards there, and they said the name Butcher. He's pissed and kills them all. Oh, I forgot to mention what happened at the press conference thing. See, the reason why they had to go on the plan of attack is because this happened. There's a lady named Victoria Newman. She's running for Congress, and she wants to take Vault down. And so they're having this huge press conference about something, and they get Vocal Bomb to go there because Butcher talked to him. And so he's ready to expose Vault and all this other stuff, and because they don't want Vault and the Seven to be part of the military and the government, stuff like that. During that press conference briefing hearing thing, a bunch of people heads explode out of nowhere, and I'm just like, it can't be that woman from the facility because she escaped and everything, but it could be her. But where is she at? So she's killing them left and right. So they're screwed. Everything they had on Vault to take them down isn't gonna happen. But the whole Nazi thing with Stormfront, that will bring them down. So back to like the fight and everything. He kills all them. Billy tells Becca the truth that he made a deal with Edgar about Ryan. And so, at this point, she's all like, she doesn't care. They have to get their son, and stuff like that. So that's when they go and get him from the log cabin and everything. And so they're running with him. So it's Butcher, Becca, and Ryan. They're on foot somewhere. So Stormfront, she finds the boys and everything. And she's pissed, talking about, oh, y'all faked this information about me. It's deep fakes and blah, 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 blah. And y'all just being racist towards me, stuff like that. So it's a fight. It's about time we had like a superhero fight. So it's Kimiko and Stormfront. It's Starlight. So they're all going at it. But Stormfront is just too powerful for them. And she blows up all the missiles and guns and everything. So the other two guys can't help out. Or the other three guys, I should say. So all of a sudden, Queen Maid is able to find them. Don't know how, but she does. And so now girls are gonna get it done on Stormfront, and they whooped her behind, and they just started kicking her and stomping her. And Frenchie's all like, "Girls do get it done." They got actually nominated for that fight scene. It wasn't really a big fight scene, but I guess they like the idea of them stomping like racism out and stuff. So she escapes, and then she finds Butcher, Ryan, and Becca. She wants like Ryan. They all like attack her, but of course they're no match for her. Becca stabs her in the eye, and then she chokes Becca up against a tree. Ryan is pissed, and he lets it out. He lasers the crap out of her. He singes, he laser all like both her legs, one of her arms, and singes her entire body. She is now dying. And as she's dying, she's speaking in German. But here's the bad part. Becca got hit by the lasers too. And by the throat. So she's dying. Butcher goes to her and she's all like, "Protect my son. He's good, this and that." Butcher, of course, is still hates soups. He picks up his lucky crowbar. He's getting ready to kill Ryan until Homelander comes in. Homelander sees Stormfront dying, speaking in German. He sees Becca dead. He sees Butcher and the boy. He tells the boy to come to him, but he doesn't want to and goes to Butcher. So he's getting ready to kill both of them now. And until Queen Maid stops him and shows him the video footage of the plane crashing and says she will leak it. And he's all like, "You do that, I'll kill everybody like in this city," and stuff like that. And she's all like, "No, you won't, because you love being loved and you want your fans." Because he's so self-absorbed. That's the thing. He's an odd, complex character. He's the most powerful man in the world. He scares people, intimidation. He will kill a person at first sight, but the thing he cares about most is being loved by the public, being a rock star. And he's very unhinged and stuff. So he leaves. And so now Vault still hasn't been taken down, but A-Train is now back with the 7. Why? Because Alistair. He tells him, "Look, man, you exposed the racist lady, Stormfront, so you get to get back in the 7. So he's happy. But they don't want the Deep. And the Deep is pissed. And A-Train just leaves him. And so the Deep is now on his own. And so they had to put a press conference out about how Stormfront was the one attacking all these facilities and all this because of racism, this and that. So Highlander is so pissed, talking about, and like, he can do whatever he wants, and he just starts jacking it on like a rooftop for some bizarre reason. But now everybody's going their own separate ways and stuff. Frenchie and Kimiko, they go their own separate ways. Billy gives Ryan to Mallory. Mother's Milk is reunited with his family. Starlight and Huey are now together. But Huey has now left the boys and he goes to the Congress lady Newman. And so, like, he tells her he wants a job. He wants to work on her campaign. He still wants to bring Vault down, but he wants to do it the legal way instead of just killing people and stuff. So she gives him a job. But then the biggest twist of them all happens at the end. Alistair is working with Newman and everything to bring Vault down. He actually doesn't like them and all that. But then all of a sudden his head explodes. So it's like, oh crap, is that lady from the facility again? No. It's Newman. She's a soup, and she was the one exploding people's heads and stuff. The FBI director lady, the people on Vogelbaum, and the people in that hearing. And now Alistair. Why? Because she's secretly working with Vault, and anybody who speaks out against Vault, she kills. What is her angle? So she wants to expose Vault, but also wants to stop people from talking smack about them? Like, what the world's going on? You know what I'm saying? So, you know what's really interesting is that The Boys has gender and race bent so many of these characters. Like, there's at least 4 females that have been gender bent. Well, I mean, 4 males from the comics that have been gender bent, and a couple that have been race bent. But you know what's really odd is that those toxic male YouTubers who like hate woke culture and everything, they hate strong women, they hate like people of color, they hate when somebody's gender bent and everything. For some bizarre reason, they're okay with this show. I think that's really odd, because when it's another show, they complain left and right. I think it's just like what I've been saying before. It's that they just complain for the sake of like complaining. That, and they probably don't even know that these characters got gender bent because they probably didn't do their research and stuff. The Boys is a very fascinating show. I still love how they flip the script where the superheroes are technically the villains, and the villains are like the heroes and stuff. Because like now, like a lot of the heroes are starting to turn like good, which is like really intriguing. And the characters are just so fascinating. I love how everybody has their own personality and their own specific role that they have in like the show. Billy is a very complex character. He's rude, he's crass, he's very brutal, and he really only thinks about himself. But when he sees his teammates getting hurt, like Huey, when Huey got stabbed by that shrapnel, he really genuinely cared for that of Huey. And even though he hates soups, he was willing to like tell Becca the truth about like, you know, how he was going to get rid of the son. But then, you know, if he would have done that, then she would have got mad, so he had to come forward and stuff. And, you know, it's like so many layers to these characters. Like Huey is like one of the nicest people who just generally wants to do good and stop these people, but he did it out of revenge. Now he's like murdering people left and right. People are getting hurt. And he contemplates like his role in that of the boys. You know, he doesn't really want to be a part of that group no more. But he has no idea he is working for that of the enemy. And I still think that whole love relationship thing between him and Starlight happened way too fast. He doesn't even seem to care about Robin no more. It was just like, she's just like an afterthought. And, you know, Kimiko, we don't know why she has select mutism, but she does. Because she can speak, but she just chooses not to. And there's one scene where she actually does try to speak, but for some reason she just can't. And the whole her and Frenchie thing, that just happened because somebody had to like fall in love other than Starlight and them. But then also maybe in the comic books, I don't read the comic books, but I feel like that was kind of like rushed a little too fast. But at least they did pace it in the second season when she like rejected him and everything like that. But there's really like, because it's only really one side. It's him wanting to get close to her, but she never tries to get close to him. She's just always like there, you know. And so I wish that would have been like better developed for her, you know, whether she has feelings for him or not, because she did go with him at the end, but there's no telling really what they're gonna do, you know. And as for Mother's Milk, he's just kind of, you know, it's a weird name, but he is kind of like the mother of like the group, who like looks after everybody and tries to keep everybody in check unless he gets like pissed at them and stuff. And it's just like so fascinating. And Queen Maeve, like I really wonder if her and her girlfriend gonna get back together or not in the third season, because there's still that footage of them what they did on that plane crash and everything. As for the Deep, I think it's time to end his storyline. Like his character's not really going nowhere. He did what he did in the first season. Him trying to like, him being sad and everything about like life afterwards, that was pretty funny. But in the second season, he tried to get back with Seven. It didn't really work out. And now it's just kind of like his storyline, in my opinion, has just ended. Black Noir, there's no point in having him if he doesn't do nothing in the show. I would like to see more of A-Train. I was surprised by A-Train's whole personality shift in like the second season. I wasn't expecting that like at all. But it shows that just like in the first season, all he wants to be is in the Seven. And that's it. And he don't care who backstabs him, betrays him, or what, Now, when it comes to Homelander, I do wonder what is going to be able to take him out. We know sonic waves hurt his ears, but it has to be something that can literally take that dude out. And the third season, man, I can't wait to watch the third season. Season 2 was insane. It was more action-packed. It was less dramatic for the most part than the first season, but it still had a lot of drama, but just differently from that of the first. This is a really good, interesting, crazy, insane, high-octane show. One thing that's irritating about this show that I don't like is this weird filter. There's like at least 2 or 3 different filters. There's this blue one, like every show has that blue filter nowadays. But then there's this weird muted yellow filter with this really high resolution inky look, and it just makes everything look weird and it makes your eyes feel funny. Also, something I've noticed about this show ever since season 1, this show is curved. You'll have the characters standing in one spot, but everything around them is at a curve. Door archways are curved, trees are curved, and then it'd be like this fuzzy background. I don't know why that is. It's a weird visual look, and it kind of like it made me think, is my TV messing up? Like, what's going on? But it's this strange, weird, curved, fuzzy, blurry look effect they have for the show. But I guess it works for them. But yeah, I can't wait for the third season. It's gonna be a good while before I can even watch the third season, because I don't have Amazon Prime just yet. So I'm gonna have to wait till July for the third season to be up and over with. I hate how they do everything per week. I wish they would just drop it all in one day. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.